selecting the best curated list of indie games from these events is difficult. It's one of the hardest things that I've ever had to do, but I'll pick up that mantle. I'll do it for video games.
What's up, nerds? Welcome back. PAX West 2024. Noisy Pixel is here yet again. We already scheduled a meeting with everybody here. We don't have to worry. Noisy Pixel doesn't have to worry about walk-ins. Noisy Pixel doesn't walk in. We are invited. We don't barge into your home. We're invited into your home. And thank you for inviting us into your homes right now, watching our PAX West content. It means the world to us.
We keep dreaming. Maps are not needed. Stick to believing. Wishing on every star in the sky. What are you feeling when the motorbike's speeding? Love is the beacon,
and then he turns into something else.
washing over us like a sunset daydream.
The show floor looks a little empty right now, but it's because it's media press hour. We're supposed to be walking around looking at some of the games and the content, but let me tell you what, we're passionate and fueled about showing you this stuff, what it's like to be on the show floor that can't come to these events because it was what we experienced growing up on G4 and all these other networks. It's amazing that we're able to do this and put this content together for you, but don't forget we do have a Patreon where you can support us directly and help us make more of these videos. We're planning so much stuff and we can't wait to show you what we have in store. So thank you. Stay tuned. We have tons of PAX coverage coming up. Stay locked in. I don't really know about stay locked in, but I think that that's like what people say, so stay locked in.
They look forward to returning home to Milwaukee to business and 400 passengers on.
Coffee.
What a beautiful sight. What a beautiful smell. PAX West is full of wonders. One is sometimes these escalators are super fucking busy, and the other times it's just smooth sailing. Now, I know this has nothing to do about games, but let's talk about me for a little bit. What do I like? What do I look for? What does Azario look for when he's looking for an indie game? Metroidvanias. You know, talk all the crap you want. Genre's still kicking it. Genre's still killing. Genre's still selling 100,000 copies. Talk all the shit. Roguelikes? I see you all in the comments. I see you all in the comments saying roguelike, pass. Well, you know what? The roguelike genre selling like hotcakes, brother. Selling like freaking hotcakes. So as I was saying, Endless Zone Zero is at PAX West 2024. It's pretty exciting to stand in line to play a gacha game. You guys have to be a real gamer to do that. PAX is open now and alive, and we're ready to check out these games. So come along with us and let's just do the damn thing. What's up, nerds? Back at PAX West 2024 with Serenity Forge here with Z, looking at their esteemed lineup.
of titles that they've brought to PAX today. So let's talk about today, Roman Sands Rebuilds.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for coming here.
Oh, love
Roman
it.
Sands is a first-person service industry, kind of a janky horror adventure game. It is a very hard game to talk about because ultimately it is kind of a narrative-driven game, almost a commentary about kind of societal dysfunction. So yeah, it's a very exciting game. I'm super stoked about it.
It gives like these this Danganronpa vibe.
Absolutely.
Is that like kind of the inspiration behind this title?
I mean, I think there's a lot of inspirations. Danganronpa is a big one. Zero Escape is a big one. I think another big inspiration is just straight up the real world, looking at how Florida is nowadays and how where that's going to go into the far future. A lot of the characters that you see, at least in the beginning of the game, kind of come off as this like generic boomers going around complaining and being very full of themselves. But then, what does that mean to our world, to our consciousness, to our existence? And then the game kind of continues to dive more into it.
I believe this is a post-apocalyptic game. Are we in the where are we at in time?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a part of this where we want the player to kind of draw their own interpretations and kind of draw their own parallels to their own lives. Post-apocalyptic is definitely a good way to look at it. One of the tricks about the game is that it's actually two completely different games. If you ever read Cloud Atlas, that's actually a really good example of there's two separate stories that are not disjointed, and that kind of talk about the same thing, just kind of from different perspectives. So in that sense, you kind of see the game as a post-apocalyptic setting from two different angles.
For Serenity Forge, as a publisher, what stood out to you about this particular title where you're like, oh, this is a game that belongs in our catalog?
Yeah. I mean, I'm someone who is very narrative-driven. I've been a solo dev making weird stuff all my life. So when we first came across this game, and first of all, Jessica Harvey and Lazzie Brown are heroes of ours in the game industry, former IGF winners with their game Paratopic. When they came around and said, hey, we want to work with you, we're like, hell yeah, that's us too. But more importantly, when we looked at the game actually really does talk about certain things in a way that no one has really talked about before. The name of the game, Roman Sands, it's a kind of a juxtaposition that's a contradiction at the same time, where it's something that lasts forever, but something that always is changing. It's a game about decay. It's a game about societal, wither. So then ultimately, when we looked at the game, we realized that the deeper message of the game is exactly what we want to do with the game industry. It's exactly the kind of games that people need to play more of and make more of. So that's why we really wanted to support it.
And when can we expect more news about this game's release?
Oh yeah, very soon. We're coming pretty close here. What I can say is that the PC version of the game is already hit gold, so it's actually fully finished. We're currently in the process of doing the port and kind of just wrapping up the release. Yeah, we're really excited to share more.
Awesome, and you can expect all of our coverage for Roman Sands Rebuild on Noisy Pixel. And we're going to actually look at Centum now. Next up on Serenity Forge's catalog, we have Centum here. So tell us a little bit about this game.
Yeah, it's coming out of Roman Sands, talking about Centum. A little messy. Centum is, I like to simply describe it as if Dostoevsky decided to write Doki Doki Literature Club. It is a game that is very deep, very heavy, very gothic, very Eastern European in nature, kind of Disco Elysium-esque in terms of writing. But the game is kind of a commentary about AI and the far future, and actually this idea, this kind of Black Mirror idea of what does it mean to be held, to be entertained, in a futuristic society where kind of our brains no longer really exist. So it is kind of like really melting pot of a lot of different things coming from Edgar Allan Poe kind of lens.
And the game kind of puts the player in the position of the character that they're playing as, but they're also kind of a developer. What is the setting? What is going on?
Yeah, so you start the game, being trapped in a room, you can't really get out. Yeah, there's a computer maybe that you're playing on. You go into the game, and then the game plays itself and or you. So then really, I mean, the idea of the game is that it is cerebral, right? It is a game where the detective story is fundamentally trying to figure out who you are. I mean, in a lot of ways, the game is inspired by games like Her Story or games like Pony Island, right? There's a lot of this kind of fourth wall breaking element that is not just simply oh, delete your, file on your computer, but it's a lot more complicated than that. It's more of using that fourth wall breaking to kind of make a point about maybe the unexamined life is not really worth living. So that's kind of the way that the game is really about.
And like Roman Sands, tell us a little bit about how this game stood out to you. What's unique about this developer and what they bring to like the game industry?
Yeah, absolutely. So Hack the Publisher is their name, and they come from a very, I would say, diverse background. There's people who have been doing pixel art for decades, right? There's writers who are working on this game who have never played a video game before. And it kind of shows sometimes. The entire team actually came from Russia, but they ended up being Russia refugees due to the war. So now the whole team is scattered around Europe in various locations and always on the move. As a result, a lot of times in order for you to be an artist of a craft, you have to go through a similar, if not greater, trauma, compared to the art that you make. So this game is really heavily inspired by the kind of the difficulties and kind of overbearing Russian kind of regime that kind of got fueled into kind of what this game's about.
When you saw this game, it's like that this game paired with their story, it's like we need to publish this, we need to get behind this.
Yeah, I mean to us, just look at the game. I think it's a pretty self-explanatory circumstance where clearly they have something important to say. Clearly they have a way to execute this game that no one really dared to do before. And I think because of the combination of decades of experience with these really old school kind of design mentality, plus the kind of the new age, the discomfort and dystopia nature of war, plus this kind of new approach to not really having written a game like this before and kind of writing it more from a traditional literature background, this combination is very fascinating. You're able to kind of pull on the strings to make the game fun, but also pull on the strings to make the game interesting that no one's really done before. So yeah, for us, it's a really big one.
And do we have a release window? What are we looking at here?
Yeah, we're coming pretty close here. The game is still a little bit buggy, but the content is complete for the game. So we're just in the process of fixing up the bugs. We're pretty soon going to be announcing the release date.
Such a tough game to playtest because some bugs are intentional.
Yeah, it's almost like it's similar to Doki Doki, where it's like when you have a bug, it's like, is that really a bug?
Did I mean to do that?
Yeah, is that a feature? Well, it could be a feature now, maybe. Yeah.
And on to the next game, Keylocker. What's up, nerds? Back at PAX West 2024 with Serenity Forge. We have a new person with us today. We have Tim, producer on Keylocker with Moonana. Sorry, I kept saying Moonana, and it's like Moonana. Okay, but yeah, tell us a little bit about Keylocker and what you're excited for.
Yeah, so it's a cyberpunk rhythm JRPG.
Rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, it's very self-explanatory, very inspired by classics of the genre. I know the devs are particularly big fans of games like Chrono Trigger and Mario and Luigi, and then they've taken that and sort of married it to their like unique writing style and humor and brought it into this cyberpunk world that's sort of dystopian, where music has been outlawed, and you play as Bobo, who is actually a singer and kind of breaking those laws and sort of becomes wrapped up in this revolution because of her singing.
It sounds like it takes like this punk rock approach. How does that lead into like the actual style of the game and how it's presented? Everything seems to be so cohesive in a title like this, where style is up front, but then you get into it and it's like a JRPG. What's it like marrying all those elements together and seeing them come together?
I mean, I would say that it's about marrying the mechanics of like rhythm games and music, and then also that idea of expression being sort of a pushback against like a dystopian tyrannical civilization, and so that becomes sort of a revolutionary act in using music. So like music becomes your combat both literally and figuratively against this regime.
I'm curious what excites you when you saw Keylocker in its early inception. What excited you about the game? What made you want to get behind it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously first thing was the style. Funnily enough, I got behind it before I joined Serenity Forge. I was actually a Kickstarter backer on the game.
Nice.
So I was really excited to join the publisher and then find out I'd be working with them. I was a big fan of the Mega Man Battle Network games back in the day, and I feel like there's a lot of that aesthetic here as well. I love the cyberpunk genre. I love JRPGs. The aesthetic and the sort of vibe of the whole game is fantastic. As great as it looks in the still images, It's really fantastic to see it in motion and see the animations and also hear the soundtrack and the sound design of the game.
What's it like seeing players get their hands on it right now? What's the feedback you're getting? What are you seeing on the show floor?
I think people are most struck, like I said, by kind of the initial visuals, but then once they get into it, the actual writing and the mood of the game is, for such sort of a dark story, it's more humorous and lighthearted than you'd think. Sort of every object almost in the game has its own little like joke or quip or story to tell, and there's world building there, but it's also just like funny sometimes. Really punny. Like the game is full of puns. There might be more puns than battles.
Okay, so when can viewers expect to see more Key Locker coming out?
It's coming out September 18th.
Easy, easy. It might be out the day this video comes out, or close to, so check the listings. What platforms are we looking at?
So it's going to be on PC, on Steam, and then also on Switch, Xbox Series X, and the PS5.
Well, there you guys hear it. Serenity Forge at PAX West 2024. We saw all their games. They have a great lineup. If you wanted the Noisy Pixel seal of approval on a lineup of a publisher, Serenity Forge would definitely be up there. So be sure to check out all these games, and we'll keep covering them. Thank you so much, Tim.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it. What's up, nerds? We're back, PAX West 2024, here with Black Tabby Games, looking at Slay the Princess, the Pristine Cut Edition. Pristine Cut? The Pristine Cut.
Yeah.
No edition. Leave that there.
You could just throw a bunch of words on the end there.
Edition is silent.
So you didn't emotionally scar all the players enough, you had to come back for round 2. So tell us about this Pristine Cut.
If you were emotionally scarred by the first release, this is going to hurt a lot more in all sorts of different ways.
Well, playtesting, people cried. I cried when I just read the script for one of the chapters. So, yes, I think it should be a good amount of scarring for people who are looking for that kind of thing.
And tell us about that. Tell us about your writing style and how you approach, I don't know, what's your inspirations? I mean, like, this game, it came out of nowhere. It really took a lot of us by surprise, but it probably wasn't beknownst to you that you were good at writing these scenarios. So how did you approach this game when the concept came about?
I mean, really, like one word at a time. So there's an interesting comparison to make between the method of writing Slay the Princess and the method of writing Scarlet Hollow, our other visual novel. Scarlet Hollow is this big, sprawling 7-episode mystery where all of the major story beats were figured out and outlined before we even started because it's grounded in reality, whereas Slay the Princess is this almost surreal, dreamlike experience that's shaped by the choices you make as a player, or sometimes in very literal ways. So for a lot of the writing of Slay the Princess, once we had the core concept of, all right, you're here to slay the princess, if you don't, she'll end the world. Also, she changes based on how you perceive her. It really became like, well, we have this simple-ish scenario. We have a location, we have the weapon, and we have this kind of logical series of decisions a player could make where if you've ever DM'd like a TTRPG and you're trying to figure out how not to stare blankly into a void when someone makes a decision, you kind of get in the heads of your players. So it was like, well, let's explore each of these avenues. What kind of relationship does this set of choices create? And then how do we explore it further and then just taking it from there and building on it? Anything you want to add, Abby?
Yeah, that's very much it. And that's a lot of where expanding it kind of comes from, and a lot of how the initial expansions on the first couple demos also happened, which is we would hit a point where we realized she had to branch again. You got here by making these decisions, and then this relationship no longer makes sense if it is only like you get beat up, then why does that lead to her only being like this big demon lady?
How was it as a developer to return to this world? Slay the Princess releases, and now you're returning to it for the Pristine Cut. What was that like for you to kind of get it back in that mindset?
Honestly, never left it. The game released on October 23rd of last year. It was like done maybe October 10th. I had a couple weeks of bug testing. At that point decided maybe we can expand it a bit. So we were immediately back to work, writing the new stuff. And then kind of as we were going through it, just like other little things came up of, well, what if we added something new here? What if we added something new there?
I did have a very brief time where I was working on just Scarlet Hollow, and switching was very difficult.
The mindset. And I do want to get into kind of the presentation and the art style, it is so simplistic yet super descriptive. Where did this come from? Where did this style come from?
Well, I worked for many years as a cartoonist, and that trained me to be very fast and to not second guess myself. And I also really like things like Digimon, where you have a basic guy and then he turns into something else. So that's the princess. The princess is, if you think about it, a Digimon.
She's Metal Greymon. Everyone knew that. And her character, how did that concept come to you?
So when Tony initially pitched me on what the premise of Slay the Princess was going to be, which is you are tasked to go and kill something that is kept in a different place, it somehow felt to me very princessy, like it was an inversion of the usual thing that you would do in a video game of going to a tower to rescue someone. You're going to a tower to kill someone. The name came first, and then from there it was like, well, okay, so she'll have to be a generic princess at first because you're told she is a princess. That's harmless. Go and slay her.
When we Googled Slay the Princess and nothing really came up, we were like, oh, this is like the jackpot.
No one's ever done this.
Yeah, it's like a 3-word memorable title, and it's just ours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It already asks you some questions.
Yeah.
Like, wow, why would you do that? What could possibly be going on in this game?
For players who have already played, what do they have waiting for them in this version?
One, there is a gallery that will help them track their progress and things that they've seen, which is amazing.
Many have been asking.
Deeply, deeply needed, honestly. And then, so 3 of the pre-existing Chapter 3 princesses have dramatically expanded routes. Those are the Fury, the Den, and the Apotheosis. Each of them, they kind of ended in a similar way to the demo, where it's like you meet her and then it's over, and
they were just too cool.
Yeah,
and
they were
had
too
much
cool
to
to not
explore.
give like a full arc to.
Yeah.
So those are all much longer. I think the Fury is the one that was expanded the most, where her route in the Pristine Cut is about 5 times as big as what it was in the original release. And then there were a handful of Chapter 2 princesses that like had a Chapter 3 that was tied to someone else, but didn't have a unique Chapter 3. So those were the Damsel, the Prisoner, the Spectre, and the Stranger. And the Stranger already gets like a unique endgame, and there's nothing I would change about her route, but for those other 3, we saw a handful of opportunities to really add some compelling new directions to explore those characters.
And I feel what you have waiting for you is the best the game has to offer. I think it's very good. And there's a new ending. Did you mention the new ending?
Yeah, there's also a new ending.
It's going to be hard to find.
That's a challenge. Well, we're definitely excited. When can players expect to play?
This fall, we will probably be announcing a release date in the near future.
Yes.
I'll definitely look out for Noisy Pixel because we'll be covering it. So thank you. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
You know what? I was gonna interrupt him, but I think this guy, this kid really wants his time with David. Like, I should not do that. That's rude. That's true. Yeah. That would definitely be like taking away from that experience. I know. We're not supposed to wait in line, but here we are, waiting in line for none other than Wayforward signing, and we need to get down to the bottom of who is best girl, Kyoko or Masako. And after 10 long hours, we finally made it up to the front of the line. And it's almost our turn, so stay with us as we get down to the bottom. And you know what? There might be a special guest. We want to know who's best girl. I understand it's hard. I don't. That was a bad.
Masako or Kyoko. If both of them were hanging off a cliff and I caught both of them and they're slipping, they're like, "Man, and save me!"
Grab both of them.
But I'm holding on. They're both slipping. I have to like let go of one. Like, sorry.
Double grip.
Yeah. Damn. Because of my loyalty to the first character I designed, it's Masako's best girl.
I'm gonna kick your face in!
Sorry, Kyoko.
I agree.
We waited in line for 10 hours to meet you guys and just to figure out this one pressing question, and I'm glad that we actually answered it for the internet. So that's for you, viewers. Thanks, guys. Noisy Pixel back at PAX West 2024. We're here with Anycraft looking at their game Neon Runner.
Yeah, so our game is called Neon Runners. We are a side-scroller multiplayer game with various modes like puzzle and battle run. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it.
Tell us a little bit about this game and how the inception of it, it started off as a user-generated content mill. And how did it evolve from there?
Yeah, so as you can see, you can like run in different maps and you can race with your friends. But the unique thing is that you can actually create these maps from scratch. So we have a map maker in our build, so you can like build these like triangular blocks, you can put death blocks so that you can troll your friends, which is always fun. And it's like a game where you can play and also make.
How many players can play on one map at a time, and how chaotic do these matches usually get?
They can get very chaotic. You control all of your friends. Generally, it's 4 people in like one game, but you can also play solo.
What were some of the inspirations behind creating this title?
I guess
yeah.
you can answer
Some of the
better.
inspiration. So we really wanted to focus on the. I know I keep saying this word, user-generated content, but that's where we wanted to focus. And you know, if you look at some of the console games, like what Nintendo makes, the answers are all there. We feel like, you know, we just felt like we had to bring some of the experience back to mobile or back to PC in a way. We had Mario Maker as one of our North Stars of the game. That's one of the biggest inspiration that we have for this game.
And when growing a community, how do you approach this? Do you listen to them directly? How do you make choices in game development that's like, this is what we want to make and we hope you like it, versus thanks for the feedback, we'll put this in the game?
Oh no, this is a good question. So of course we had a period of time where we were going sort of stealth mode. We didn't get any of the user input, so all we could build was what we knew and what we wanted to build. But of course, we are at a stage where we are doing small play tests on Steam and on App Store and otherwise as well. And we do get user feedback through that. Just App Store comments sometimes. We're building a Discord community as well. And the community there is actually really active. You can even see that here we have a leaderboard. And although no one has really played this game yet, here we have the leaderboard from our community actually. These are the times that we have been building so far from people who's been playing our game, who's already joined the community. So
plug the QR code.
Just done a user collaboration actually, where we invited some of our players to actually create a new runner or like a new type of block. So we take user input very seriously. Our Discord server is very active, so we interact with them a lot to make sure we're building what they want to play.
Let's talk about release. Where are we at right now? What's the status of this game's development?
Well, that's an interesting question as well. There's nothing really set in stone, as in like we don't have a date set. However, we do have the map maker, the user-generated content stuff released on Epic Store. So you could go there, download it right now and make some maps, play the maps that other people made. But we are planning a more fuller launch on Steam as well, and that is coming very soon, I would say within this year.
Well, everyone look out for Neon Runner. It looks pretty cool. I'm into these online running games. You can tell every game on this show floor, community is crucial for these developers, and this team seems to be paying attention to their community very closely. So keep it locked. I don't like saying that, but keep it locked. Welcome back to PAX West 2024. We're here with Binary Haze, and we're looking at their new game, Ender Magnolia Bloom in the Mist. I want to know, what's Binary Haze's obsession with throwing cute little girls into dangerous situations?
これ主人公なんかめっちゃ暗い世界。
そうですね。これはまあ私は個人的にはその暗いダークな世界にこの少し美しいものがあるというのが好きなんですけど、この女の子がすごく可愛いというのはディレクターの岡部君の趣味ですね。
Tell us about the challenges that Ender Magnolia faces compared to what we saw in Ender Lilies in terms of combat style and just evolution. What are you guys planning in this new adventure?
そうですね。エンダーリリーズの時って仲間になるキャラクターは多かったんですけど、その一つ一つの攻略における使い道とか、あとはストーリーにおいてキャラクターたちをちゃんと掘り下げて扱うということができなかったんですけど、エンダーマグノリアではメインキャラクターが10体、あとはサブキャラクターが何体かいるんですけど、メインキャラクターが10体の中で彼らがそれぞれ3種類の武器を扱えるようになっているので、攻撃のパターンとしては前作より増えているけど、ストーリーとしてすごく一人一人を掘り下げやすくなっているので、これらの総合体験がこのエンダーマグノリアでは一番大きな違いだと思います。
When Ender Lilies was in development, was a sequel always in the works, or was the success of Ender Lilies what fueled the sequel?
実はエンダーリリーズがリリースする前から2を作ろうと決めてました。で理由としてはエンダーリリーズが完成する間近になって、 やっぱりまだ自分たちがやりきれなかったことがたくさんあるなと思ったので、エンダーリリーズでできなかったこととかエンダーリリーズで改善したかったことをこのエンダーマグノリアで実現しました。
What's your personal favorite new mechanic that's been in Ender Magnolias that you want players to really know about?
そうですね、これは私がもともとアーティストだったことも関係してるんですけど、エンダーリリーズではステージがすごくブロックで作られたような四角い印象がとても多かったんですけど、これは理由としてキャラクターがまっすぐしか歩けないから、それに合わせてステージを構成せざるを得なくて四角いブロックのようなステージが多くなってしまった。でも今回はキャラクターを斜めに下がったり上がったりっていうアニメーションの制御ができるようになったので、これによってステージが今までの四角くカクカクしてた印象からもっと自然なユーザーがゲームの中に世界に入り込みやすいようなそういうクオリティが再現できたので、ここが私としては満足しているところです。
As a developer, is that scary for you to be like, I want this freedom, and now that you have it, is it overwhelming ever? Is it exciting for you to tackle these challenges? What's it like looking at this product and being like, okay, this is something that I get to explore now?
そうですね、やっぱりエンダーリリーズをベースにしてそこから作ることができたので、エンダーマグノリアは。なので前回のエンダーリリーズの時はやっぱり最低限の基本的なところを作るところですごく苦労していたんですけど、今回はそこに加えてこの改善する要素を作っていくことができたので、とても効率的に前回よりも高い品質が出せていると思います。
You're seeing people playtest it live here at PAX West. What's that like? Is it nervous? Are you shaking?
そうそう、これは、私たちは直前にゲームズコムにも参加していましたけど、今まで例えばエンダーリリーズは150万本売れたと言われても、いつも数字の上でしかユーザーを認識できなかった。それが今回初めて目の前でたくさんのいろんな国の人が遊んでくれているのを見て、純粋にとても嬉しいですね。感動しました。
When can we expect an update? When can players expect to maybe a release date or maybe a new trailer? What are we looking at?
そうですね、あと1ヶ月以内には多分出せると思うんですけど、ただ私たちは今フルバージョンへの完成に向けて最後の開発を頑張っているところで、もう一日も早くフルバージョンを出すために今のアーリーアクセス版に大きなアップデート入るということはないんですけど、フルバージョンがいつ出るかというこのアナウンスへ向けてあと1ヶ月ぐらいでしっかりと発表できると思います。
Well, we'll definitely be covering it on Noisy Pixel. Thank you so much for taking the time. There's one thing that I don't really understand, and it's something that Bandai Namco has liked doing, especially with their Sword Art Online brand. Why do they feel the need to remind us of Yuki? What's the deal? We get it. We all loved her. You don't need to rub it in. You don't need to rub in what happened. And yet here she is on full display. That's weird. Fuck yeah. They say dreams don't come true at PAX. But I have something for you. Your boy is happy.
That's awesome.
Dude, okay, I know people give your character a little bit of crap, but I'm telling you, that was my favorite season of Sword Art.
Yeah, Gun Gal?
Yeah, Gun Gal. I'm so glad to see that she's back in the game, right?
Yeah, the game. She's really fun to try in the game as well. Yeah,
So you're telling me Bandai got all my letters?
It's writing to Santa.
Yeah. How's the show been for you?
It's been pretty good.
So what's it like here at PAX? What's the energy like?
It's very chill. We see a lot of families and kids. I always love seeing the kids. And we haven't gotten to try any of the games yet, but we'll definitely will once we're on break.
Tell us about the Sword Art community. What's it like to be in front of them and kind of share this excitement for the series for them in this new game?
Everyone's been really nice, especially the biggest Sword Art Online fans. They're always like, this is my favorite. I'm really glad they have a game. And they say they're waifu, So that's really nice. Everyone's been really sweet.
My waifu is Shino. Thank you for asking.
She's here. She's coming in 5 minutes. She's literally. Oh no, heart attack.
Thank you, guys.
Coming.
Okay.
She's got the big gun.
Well, we'll definitely be back. Looking like a damn snack.
That's weird.
She's dead. We know she's dead, dude. But come on, I gotta appreciate it. Huh?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Mark here from behind the camera, and I just want to say thanks again for clicking on this PAX video. It does mean a lot to us. We do put a lot of work into these productions, and although not many people are doing them still on the internet, we're still here to put on a show for you guys. So please subscribe, follow, like, and all of that fun stuff for us. Stick around for more PAX coverage. We have a few more games to interview for day one. I'll see you around, everybody.
This fucking.
I believe it.
You didn't record that, did you?
I did, but
No, you didn't. Is it red?
the mic still picks it up.
What's up, nerds? We're back at PAX West 2024 here with one of our favorite publishers. I say our, I really mean my. Here with one of my favorite publishers, Playism. Hi, introduce yourselves, please.
Yeah, hi, I'm Michael. I work for Playism's International Operations, and I'll be interpreting for Mizutani today.
Can you give us the pitch on the Playism brand? What does Playism at the heart of the company look for in indie games?
プレイズムは、新しいゲームシステムとかエンターテインメントを生み出せる、でもお金もなくて力もない小さなデベロッパーを応援するために我々は存在しています。
And you brought a handful of those titles to PAX this year. What are some of the games out of these select that you feel are really excited about?
もちろん全部期待してるんですけど、個人的にはアウトライダーマコっていうのがあれは5年6年作ってて、やっと海外の人に初めて遊んでもらえているので、嬉しいです。
How is it as a publisher seeing people play these games live? What's the reaction been like? Is it scary? Are you going to go back to the office and be energized to sign more games? What are you feeling right now?
正直もう不安でしょうがないです。怖いしかない。怖い。
Seeing people enjoy the game, does that kind of calm your nerves a little bit?
モチベーションというか、すごいいい気持ちです。
ほっとする。
Looking forward, Playism as a brand, you guys have been expanding a lot in recent years in terms of being a global brand. How has that been? Have you seen success in that?
いやもう嬉しい。もう僕ら10年ぐらい前からパックス多分何回か出てて。やっとちょっとだけ知ってもらえたのかなと最近思うようになったと。はい。あとメディアのおかげです。はい。
On that note, Playism is also doing things like hosting indie events and hosting like digital events. What's the reception been like for that, and can we expect to see more in the future?
そうですね。やっぱりいろんな状況が変わるので、あれですね、プレイズムゲームショーみたいなことですよね。
はい、そうです。
やっぱ自分たちで発表できる場所っていうのはやっぱり持っておかないと、発表できる場所っていうのが奪われてしまうので、やっぱり自分たちの発信力っていうのを上げたいというのは常に思っているので、それもやりながら、でもパックスみたいな既存のイベントも使いながら、両輪で回していかないと、多分将来ダメになるなと思ってます。はい。
I can't imagine the amount of indie games that you've probably seen. What excites you now? What gets you energized when you see an indie game in development and this is going to be a Playism game?
でもやっぱり新しいゲームプレイです。見たことないもの。やっぱりインディーゲームシーンってみんなカードゲーム、メトロイドバニアなんとかみたいな似たようなものにやっぱなっちゃう中、今新しくないものという、今その、珍しいものというかな、っていうのを見つけるとやっぱりおっと思いますね。なんか流行と逆のものをやっぱり探してますね。そういうのを見ると感動します。
And on that, what kind of support does Playism offer indie developers where they see potential in their projects? What are we talking here? What did Playism have for these new developers?
具体的にはもともとローカライズの会社なんで、ローカライズとあとポーティングもできますし、ファンディングもしますし、あとはうちのね会社の日本のゲームメディアで欧米もあるんですけど、オートマトンというゲームメディアを使ってマーケティングもできるんで、本当にゲーム作る以外の部分っていうのは幅広くサポートできると思います。はい。
For TGS, looking forward to Tokyo Game Show in the end of 2024 and coming into 2025, what can we expect from Playism? What's coming up?
TGS に向けて。
TGS に向けて変なブースを作るので、それが楽しみにしてもらえるといいですか。
We'll definitely look out for it. I want to say, We did an interview with a couple probably a year ago at PAX, and I mentioned La Mulana to them, and they had no idea what I was. And I went on at least like a 30-second like spiel on La Mulana to them. Nothing, but I am so happy that you're wearing that sweater.
La Banana producer.
Yeah. It's the fucking brilliant fucking game. Oh my god. Oh, so good. So good. If you could trust anybody, trust the producer of La Mulana, the best game in the world. Well, thank you everyone for watching, and be sure to check out Noisy Pixel for more coverage of Playism and PAX West. Thank you so much. What's up everyone, back at PAX West 2024 looking at Jalen Silent Bob Chronic Blunt Punch. What a game. Yeah, with creative director Justin here. Tell us about this game. Give us the story, give us the pitch.
So, Jalen Silent Bob Chronic Blunt Punch is a love letter to the View Askew universe, Kevin Smith's whole universe that he's built up over the years of filming. As a young developer, when I first started, I was finishing up school, I was getting in AAA. I would watch his movies just to feel good. One of them was Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. I would watch it every time I felt low because it was just trying to start a studio is rough. And also he had his stand-up, his Q&As, an evening with Kevin Smith. So really was smitten with that kind of work. It was just kind of feel-good stuff. And then as we were developing our games, our team was getting bigger, we were in accelerators, this type of thing. We ended up getting this opportunity through a friend, Trevor Furman, who was Elias in Clerks 2. He asked Kevin in 2006 while they were making Clerks 2, hey, can I in the future make a game? And serendipitously, we got connected and we were like, hey, this is the idea, and then we just started it, right?
So Chronic Blunt Punch is like a full circle thing for you. It's like it started when you started as a developer, and it's the IP at least is coming back. So tell us about this game specifically and how it kind of relates to the Mall Brawl that we saw before.
Yeah, so this game, like the whole idea behind this game is we wanted to mesh the View Askew universe with a side-scrolling brawler that had fighting game mechanics. We're big fighting game fans. Tekken, Street Fighter, King of Fighters, like name it, right? And so when we were developing the game, we wanted to make sure that everything was hand-drawn, cartoon anime, but like a Capcom style game with those like really crisp mechanics. As we were developing the game, we actually started the game out of Double Fine. Double Fine had like an indie space, so we started out of there, and then we raised funds through a brand new platform. While we were developing the game, we were like, oh, we need to figure out how to raise more capital, right? And so in the middle of that, we were working with Limited Run Games, that they've been a partner of ours for a long time through the mix and like that type of stuff, which I started. We're like, hey, in order to raise funds, instead of working with a publisher, let's find another means to do that. So we asked Kevin, hey, can we make another game and all the funds are gonna go straight to this, the Chronic Blunt Punch game, and then we're also going to be giving the game away free to all the backers behind the other one. So we made an 8-bit game. It was an NES game, straight up. It's like River City Ransom meets Double Dragon 2. Game is really, really fun and like a really good game. And then we work with Limited Run. We work with some other folks on porting it to all the consoles, and we were able to raise the funds for Chronic Blunt Punch. I'm a big fan of Digital Eclipse.
Perfect developer.
Yeah, they're right near us. We got in contact with them. They were doing Volgar 2, and they had a few other projects that they were actually helping to publish. So we were like, hey, how about we co-publish this game together? You have the QA, you understand mechanics, you understand programming. There's some things that we need some help on. How do we collaborate? And so we decided, hey, we're gonna co-publish this game together.
And seeing the game being played at events, how has that been for you as a developer? You're seeing it in hands. What's the feedback like? What are you looking for?
It's great. I mean, the game has been in development for 8 years. It's nuts, off and on. So when we first started, before we raised the additional funds, the game was looking great. It was feeling really good. But once we were after Mall Brawl, we went full in. We have all the assists, all that stuff. So every time we show it, especially now since it's close to being done, it just feels really, really good because it is like one of the best looking crisp animated games that's going to be coming out.
There's like this contrast because it is Jay and Silent Bob, but it lends itself so well to the beat 'em up genre. How did you know that those two would marry together so well?
I don't think we 100% knew that we were like gonna make it work. The movies are so comical, like they are like comic books, they are like animations. Everything is really over the top. So we're like, let's take it to the next level. Our idea was to adapt his approach of really making fun of the film industry and of himself, self-deprecating in a way. And like, let's do that to games. So if you look at it, there's a lot of references from his movies and his universe. There's also a lot of references to what we love about games. Like Jay turns into Chronic. Chronic basically looks like Zero from Mega Man. So we're playing on that. Silent Bob turns into his comic book persona, Blunt Man, but it's basically the Arkham Asylum Batman. In the movie, it's like the old school 1988 Batman, right? So like, playing with those premises and just like kind of going all out just seemed like it would work.
When can viewers kind of expect to get their hands on this game?
We're shooting for October, coming up very, very quickly.
All platforms?
All platforms. We're going to start with Steam though first, PC, Steam, and then release on other consoles.
Well, thank you, Justin, for your time. And Jay and Silent Bob, Chronic Blunt Punch. Stick around because we're definitely going to be covering it. Thank you. I'm on. So we're here, and we realize that Zenless Zone Zero is participating in PAX East. That's real. You got me there. Can I say like the line? Take your damn clothes off!
If I hear that one more time!
Yes! Dreams come true. And we're back with Gaming Factory here looking at Japanese Drift Master at PAX West 2024. Please tell us about this game.
Of course, JDM, which stands for Japanese Drift Master, is a simcade racing game. A simcade meaning that like the backbone of the game is kind of simulation, but we are adding layers of arcade features onto it, so it's easy to play on your steering wheel and on your gamepad. Long story short, we wanted to bring drifting games back, and where to do it better than in Japan, so the origin country of drifting and the whole culture of drifting.
Someone in Poland watched Tokyo Drift and Initial D, and you guys, we need a game that does this.
Exactly that. Initial D is one of our biggest like inspirations in the game. We grew up watching that, reading that, and it was just our dream to make it happen.
So what is it like seeing that dream come to fruition here, watching people play and get their hands on it?
That's actually really awesome. A lot of people who play it just, you know, after they put down the gamepad, they go to us and say, hey, it's Initial D, man. Like, I love it. And we're like, yes, we did it. That's exactly what we are aiming for.
What are you looking for in a racing game, and what do you believe that JDM brings to the table that other kind of racing games don't?
I think it's a great game that is kind of in between like all those arcade games that you can, you know, push your acceleration and then nothing else, and a simulation that requires you some kind of skill to kind of make your turns, make your corners and whatnot. So I think like we're in the perfect spot in between. So it requires the arcade players to learn a little bit like how the physics work and how you really need to drift in the game, but also it should be enough satisfying for those hardcore simulation players that, you know, play Assetto Corsa every day and whatnot, right?
Yeah, and tell me about that. What's the game flow like?
Okay, so actually the game is heavily story focused. So we have like a full team of artists that are creating a manga for the game that tells the story. So we'll have a full comic book that will, you know, take you from events to events in the game. So the loop is that you read a little bit of the comic book, then something happens, you know, on our open world map, there will show up a new event that you need to go to. So you drive there, you take part in that event and just have fun with the game.
Let's talk about challenges and just drifting in general. How high is the ceiling for people who really want to get into the simulation aspect of the drifting and get the highest scores and stuff like that?
Right. We want people to beat their high scores. That's obvious. But all of the challenges, all of the events will have like regularly, like most games have different tiers of success. So from bronze to obviously gold. So bronze should be, quite easily obtainable for, fresh racing players.
Me.
And having gold actually requires a lot of skill, right? So how we think about it is we are structuring the game to make a challenge for those players who are not too much in the racing scene, but they like the setting, they like to go into the racing games more and more. So we have actually a driving school in the game that helps people, get that skill level up and make them better and better at what they do. So if they run an event and they have a bronze, it's back to driving school. 30 minutes later, okay, I know how to do it, and I go back to the event and now I have a silver. And
get better and better.
Exactly.
Let's talk about release. What are we planning on platforms and release timing? What are you looking for?
So right now, we just 2 weeks ago, we released a free-to-play Race of the Scorpion prologue to this game. It has a portion of the full game's map. It has a few events that you can play and a lot of other features in it as well. It's available on PC, on Steam, GOG.com and Epic, and you can play it for free right now. For the full release of the game, we are scheduled for later this year, and fingers crossed we can make it happen.
We'll definitely be looking out for that coverage on Noisy Pixel because this is one of the games we're excited about. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
What's up everyone, Noisy Pixel back at PAX West 2024 here with Mr. The talking about Ollie Frog Toad Skater. Please, fill us in.
Hi, so Ollie Frog Toad Skater is the amphibious skateboarding game where it's easy to be steezy. It's pretty much just Tony Hawk with some really cool aesthetics and shading modules, lots of customization, and also an underwater gimmick. So normally in the Tony Hawk games you void out when you hit water, it just kind of spits you back out on the land. But in this game we wanted to play with some water mechanics and just really have a lot of fun with the setting, because right now it's just a mixture of it's a lot of urban stuff, but we're also trying to interweave some nature stuff. So it's just sort of our take on Tony Hawk pretty much.
How has that new feature and concept kind of changed the Tony Hawk formula for you guys?
Mostly we see it more in the level design department because we actually have to take some design cues from Disney's Extreme Skate Adventure. I don't know if you remember that. That was a very early Toys for Bob PS2 GameCube era game. They actually deal with some of the design problems that we had to deal with of how do you make a forest interesting?
And tell us about how it's been seeing this game played at events. What is that like as a developer?
Oh god, it's probably legitimately, it's probably one of the most spiritually fulfilling things I've done in my life. Because it's just you put in all this work to originally this is just me focusing on, okay, I want to get the mechanics tight here, 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 and there, check off all the boxes, because these games are not easy to engineer, otherwise you would see more Tony Hawk clones. But actually getting into the event and seeing kids play it, it's just it just has a magnetic quality to it that's undeniable. And then the frog drawing gimmick, which we've had since Genesis 8 has Smash Tournament in San Jose. It just brings smiles to people's faces so fast. And I think it's kind of why I always do this thing, even though maybe financially it might be you don't need to spend this much money to market. I'm nah man, I'm here for the experience.
So tell us about the skateboarding essence of this game. Is it totally ingrained in the Tony Hawk formula, or who are you addressing?
Okay, so yeah, this is initially tailored towards folks who are into Tony Hawk 3, Thug 2, sort of that level of mechanics. So we have wall rides, we have reverts, we have spine transfers, so that feature from 4. So that's sort of the bare bones feature set. We do a few tweaks with some of the existing mechanics. The way we handle momentum transfers coming off of a wall ride are a lot different in this game, and we expect you to use those in certain interesting ways. Very much of Tony Hawk DNA. And so when somebody who's played Tony Hawk picks up the controller, they're just able to get it right in there.
Big question, part creator?
We've thought about it before, but the other reality is because a lot of us are designing skate levels for the first or second time, we're having the challenge of just making the parks by hand is hard enough that we wouldn't feel qualified to make a modular park creator until we had enough of the design lingo and language laid out to make that tool. Not completely out of question, but definitely not by launch.
So you're saying that if this game had a ton of support, we could look into it?
Yeah, a ton of support, ton of enthusiasm. Lots of sales, money, money, money.
So you guys recently delayed to 2025, but tell us about what your plans are moving forward into the new year.
Oh God, finish the game, honestly.
Step one, finish
step
the game.
one, get this thing wrapped up. If it's a hit, or if we get enough like enthusiastic support, just like your typical post-launch support, fixing bugs, etc. And then maybe we take a quick breather for like a month or two, and then we either like maybe do some more content, or I'm guessing what we're going to do is I want to prototype a few more games and a few more things before we iterate on this game a bit more. There's a whole lot of like housekeeping I want to do, and not until that is done would I want to like continue to add some more, because I have like a ton of ideas for like DLC, different levels, different scenarios, different features. Like you mentioned, like I've thought of like putting in like a custom in-game deck creator and that sort of thing, or even like different flavors of online multiplayer modes, because I've been wanting to toy with that for a long time, but I just haven't had time.
It sounds to me like there's a lot that people should be looking out for, Mr. The, and they should follow your channels for all these updates as well.
Yeah, so my Twitter is @Philipwitz, that's PHLLIPWITZ. I have a TikTok, Mr. The Game Dev. I need to update that thing some more. That's probably where I'm going to be most active, is just on Twitter these days. I do have a Blue Sky, which I think is also Mr. The Game Dev. I probably linked it somewhere. We'll make it easy to find later.
Well, thank you everyone for checking out this game, and what platforms is it coming to?
We're starting with PC, but I'm going to bust my ass to get this thing onto the Nintendo Switch, because that was the original goal.
Well, keep it locked to noisypixel.net, and we will definitely be covering this game in the future. Welcome back. We're here with Pine Creek Games looking at Winter Burrow, a recently announced survival adventure. We're here with Benjamin. Can you tell us a little bit about the game?
Yeah, it's a cozy woodland survival game, and you play as a small mouse who returned to their childhood home only to find it broken down. So you need to restore it to its former glory. And you do that by exploring a frozen wilderness where you find resources. You bring them back home to a safe, warm burrow where you can craft useful items. You can knit warm sweaters to keep warm for longer. You can bake pies to have food on the road. And yeah, then you can explore further and further. You can meet the locals who live there. They have a story to tell, each of them, and they will give you survival tips on the way.
Your genre of choice is a little contrasting.
Yeah.
Cozy and survival don't really go together, so how do you make that work in this game?
It also took us a long while to find the right balance. And when we pitched the game the first time, there was a lot of people who really didn't see kind of like, they meant we should go more like serious, like hardcore survival, or more cozy. But I really think there's an interesting contrast between the safety and danger. Like the same way when you're tucking up under a warm blanket, it's not as nice if it's sunshine outside and warm, but if it's raining outside, it feels much more cozy. So it's the same thing, like the burrow will be much more cozy because the outside is cold and dangerous than if everything was just warm and nice. It would not have the same effect. So that's why we found that balance. But it is a difficult balance to find, but we want to make it basically a forgiving survival game.
Since the recent reveal, how has it been for the studio? How's the energy been back at the developing the game and getting back to kind of taking in feedback and continuing development?
It's been a very good energy. Like, we get so much positive feedback, and that's really helpful when you have been through a period of rejection and you kind of like start doubting what you're making. Like, will this work for people? And then when you bring it out there to people and get the reactions back from them, it's just amazing. We got so much positive energy, and so many people are just like, this is the game I didn't know I was looking for. So that's really nice.
And when can we expect a launch or a new update for Winter Burrow?
Yeah, so the launch will be 2025. We don't know when yet. The next update, I don't know, but in a couple of months we hope to maybe bring the demo, because we'll have the demo live on Steam right now, but it will be taken down soon. But
boo! You might not be able to watch it if you're watching this in a couple weeks. Sorry, the demo would...
It's not even there anymore.
Tease! This guy's a tease!
But then we can kind of like help you until that in a couple of months we'll bring the demo back on Steam, so keep an eye out. You can follow us on Twitter or the Discord.
Well, be on the lookout for Winter Burrow. We'll definitely be covering it because it's cute as hell. Thanks. Thanks for your time. Isn't that sweet? I guess so. That's that PAX Espresso. Thank you all for watching day one of PAX West 2024. And I hope it was good, because I do not remember what we did.
noise in here. That's alright.
Oh yeah.
After hours.
Noisy Pixel After Hours here with another episode of what you want and what you need. We have a Noisy Pixel alumni, as they say, none other than the wonderful Brad Crespo.
Hey, what's up?
Cocktail or beer?
Noisy Pixel.
Noisy Pixel After Hours. We're getting fucked up here. Brad Crespo.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about Hyperlight Breaker.
Oh,
Where do you begin?
Let me tell you.
Where do you begin?
Where do I even begin?
Real talk.
Yeah.
The growth that every time I see in this game, there's something new. How has development been as a publisher? How are you backing the team? What can players expect more from this game?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I mean, yeah, so, as you mentioned, we kind of showed it at some different spots. We showed it at Summer Game Fest Play Days, showed it at Day of the Devs before that. And to be honest, I mean, the dev team, has been cooking, I'm not gonna lie. So we've been allowing the dev team to really work on the game, everything like that. We want to make sure that when we go into early access, we put it in a really good spot.
What excites you about this title, and what do you personally like to share with people? Like, oh no, you should experience this because it's my favorite part.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I mean, for me personally, of course I'm a Drifter fan, Hyperlight Drifter fan, so a huge fan of that. With this kind of game, it takes the Hyperlight Drifter sort of universe into like a whole new direction, right? One thing that I really like about it is like it's 3-player online co-op. So that is, I'm a huge co-op guy, you know what I'm saying? So for me, I'm like, okay.
When can people hear more about this game?
So of course, as I mentioned before, the dev team's working on it. We are going to be launching an early access.
PR answer right there.
No, wait 1 second.
It'll happen when it happens.
No, I'm telling you. We're launching early access early next year.
Okay, 2020, a window.
Yeah, a window. We got that window. The window is there.
The great thing about this game is that everyone is so excited about it, and that excitement hasn't ended. So I'm glad to see it here and being presented to people.
Yeah.
Do you deliver that feedback back to the developers?
Oh yeah, of course. Most definitely. Yeah.
2025.
Yeah.
That's the year.
That's the
Thank
year.
you so much.
Early 2025. Early. Yeah, that's the year.
We got down the window. We closed the window a little bit.
Yeah, let's close that window.
Thank you so much, Brad.
Say
Charlatan. But I do.
Okay.
Charlatan.
To Charlatan. If you didn't catch our Boston content, I implore. Yeah, you should be. You know what? I give it to her because not a lot of people actually say sorry when they do that. They just kind of keep walking and make me out to be the villain. No, that was right. That was perfect etiquette for this type of situation. Now, we're going, now, sorry, threw me off a little bit. I'm gonna start over, okay?
Noisy Pixel.